Great news for Hamilton. After Ferrari's huge update on their SF-25 just got leaked. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Ferrari news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is first details of Hamilton's radically new Ferrari revealed. The Ferrari car Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc will drive in 2025 will be radically different from the 2024 machine. The most obvious change, and one known for some time, is the change from pushrod suspension at the front to pull rods, complete with a front-of-chassis redesign. The rear suspension pull rods will remain, but this does not mean the kinematics of the rear of the change will not change, with a further shortening of the gearbox expected. Another change from the 2024 car, which finished second to McLaren in the Constructors, is that the side pod air inlets are also expected to be in a different position, shrunk back to ward off the air turbulence generated by the front wheels. Ferrari, after McLaren, was undoubtedly the team that made the most progress in 2024, with the SF-25 proving to be a reliable conceptual platform consistent with the team's objectives of greater incisiveness in race trim compared to the previous car, the SF-23. The concept of the SF-24 can be considered a profound evolution of the previous car, although in reality the changes went deeper than those not seen immediately with the naked eye, such as the lengthening of the fuel tank area and the shortening of the gearbox by about 5 centimeters. In essence, while keeping the wheelbase unchanged, Ferrari was able to modify the weight distribution within the limits allowed by the regulations, significantly impacting the management of load transfers and vehicle dynamics through the suspensions. This had remained unchanged in terms of layout, but the internal kinematics and position of the internal components were changed, and from the results the machine collected, it is therefore correct to say that the integration between vehicle dynamics and aerodynamics was a success, right up until the Maranello engineers tried to push further with the upgrade introduced in Spain. Racing News 365 understands that the real objective of this botched upgrade introduced in Barcelona was to increase the downforce generated by the floor and progressively trying to reduce the drag created through various wing levels. Whilst the right move on paper, in reality, it proved to be a double-edged sword as it reintroduced porpoising, which made the car unmanageable, made it lose performance, and suffer from increased tire wear. The major stumbling point for this upgrade was the diff-cult integration into a platform which had already found its strong point in terms of dynamic balance, but which had a low ceiling in terms of adding evolutions on top of it. The precise integration of the vehicle dynamics and aerodynamics was the major problem, with the upgrade creating higher aero loads, but also distributing the load differently across the floor from the original configuration. This drawing shows the differences between the first version in Bahrain and the latest version in Abu Dhabi. This does not stop at the inlets and the low profile of the side pods, as the central part and the cooling vents have also been modified. Not only in terms of the inlets of the side pods and the other low profile of the side pods, but also in terms of the central part of the car and the cooling vents. Ferrari decided for the final race not to use the experimental floor that Leclerc had used in Qatar. It was not considered decisive for performance, but it was a clear preview of the floor that will be used on the new car in early 2025. The second story is Lewis Hamilton set to end monster relationship for Ferrari F1 switch. Lewis Hamilton's long-term association with Monster Energy is set to come to an end for 2025, as he gears up for his Ferrari switch in Formula One. Hamilton announced prior to the start of the 2024 F1 campaign that he would be concluding his partnership with Mercedes at the end of the year to join Ferrari. The Briton joined Mercedes from McLaren in 2013 and went on to win 6 of his 7 world titles. Hamilton has been a monster athlete since 2017 and carried on that relationship into 2024 when the brand cut its ties with Mercedes to partner up with McLaren. It was his relationship with Monster that facilitated the ride swap Hamilton took part in back in 2019 with MotoGP legend Valentino Rossi in Valencia. According to Sport Business, Hamilton's switch to Ferrari will see him take on a new energy drink sponsor in Celsius. American energy drink company Celsius currently sponsors Ferrari in F1, as well as a handful of NASCAR outfits in the US, and counts Charles Leclerc as an ambassador. No deal has been officially agreed yet between Celsius and Hamilton, reports Sport Business, but one is close to being signed. Earlier this week, an interview with KTM Motorsport boss Pit Bearer in Speed Week revealed that Hamilton's management had engaged in very interesting discussions about a buy-in with the struggling Austrian manufacturer. KTM is in debt for at least 1.8 billion euros and is currently in the midst of a restructuring process it triggered to stave off bankruptcy. While KTM has been allowed to continue in its current form, the creditors have put pressure on the marque to quit MotoGP. KTM insisted in a statement before Christmas that it will continue to race in 2025. A report following KTM's first creditors hearing this month revealed that there were at least 3 parties interested in investment of up to 700 million euros. This isn't the first time in 2024 that Hamilton has been linked to MotoGP, with rumors earlier this year emerging that he was set to buy the Gresini squad. Hamilton denied these, but stated that MotoGP was an area he was interested in getting involved in on the business side. Liberty Media, whose acquisition of MotoGP has been delayed by an EU probe, confirmed Hamilton interest in MotoGP in an investor's call during the summer. The third story is F1 legend delivers rare Hamilton verdict ahead of Ferrari switch. F1 and motorsport legend Jackie Ickx has given Lewis Hamilton a double plus as he prepares for his move to Ferrari. Hamilton will formally join the scuderia on January 1st, becoming the 98th different driver to race for the team in the World Championship with Ickx himself, having done so for 54 of his 116 starts in Grand Prix racing. Ickx won all 8 of his Grands Prix for Ferrari, dovetailing F1 with Le Mans and going on to win the twice-around-the-clock French Endurance Classic 6 times. Reflecting on Hamilton's move from Mercedes, the Belgian singled out Hamilton's off-track activities. If you refer to Lewis, for me, he is a unique driver, Ickx exclusively told Racing News 365. It is like Senna, you have Max, you have Michael Schumacher and Fangio in the early days. These people have a little plus compared to the others. But to me, he is a double plus because he is a very human person who never feared to get involved in Black Lives Matter, for example. He is the only one I know today who involves himself totally in something. And maybe that quality is something even more impressive than the first one when you see what he does, what he cares about with his foundation. Nobody has done that before. Ickx, whose best finish in F1 was runner-up to Sir Jackie Stewart in 1969, and to the only posthumous world champion, Jochen Rindt in 1970, also ran the rule over Hamilton's move, believing his heart will be tainted red. I think if life is well made, and if you have the opportunity to do the things you like, it is easy, because it does not work anymore, he observed. But it is clear that if you are at Ferrari for a few years and then other brands for 10 years or more, if you speak Ferrari, clearly your heart is tainted red at the end. I can see that even Lewis is attracted to be there for the end of his career. Honestly, it is fantastic, because only he knows what he can do and where he wants to go. Lewis Hamilton is set to terminate his long-term Formula One partnership with Monster Energy ahead of his move to Ferrari. This is according to a report by Sport Business, which claims the 7-time F1 world champion will ditch the energy drink brand before he moves to the Scuderia in 2018-2025. Monster signed a deal with Mercedes to sponsor the team back in 2010, the year it re-entered the sport as a constructor after Mercedes-Benz's parent company Daimler AG bought a minority stake in Braun GP. In 2017, Hamilton entered into a personal sponsorship with the brand and has kept that partnership going ever since. He even has his own flavor of Monster Energy Lewis Hamilton Zero Sugar. However, at the beginning of this year, Monster left the Silver Arrows for McLaren, and now the British racing driver is also set to abandon his sponsorship with the American company. Ferrari agreed to a sponsorship deal with rival energy drink brand Celsius in 2023. The following year, after it was announced that Hamilton would partner with Charles Leclerc in 2025, the Florida-based company upgraded its partnership to a full-time sponsorship. Celsius has appeared on the SF-25 this season, along with the race suits of both drivers.